The career path of the community consultant doesn't necessarily need to be a conventional one. Today, my guest is going to be Jephtah Abu of Talentpoel. He's a partner of Clocktower Advisors, and his path led him from the world of community management to entrepreneurship. We'll learn all about that today and why your organization may want to look at outsourcing to his African-based organization as a way to cover your startup or your business's operational needs for community professionals. Join me after this. Cue it, Kalisa. I love that. Welcome, everybody. This is Talk About Your Community. I'm Todd Nilson, the owner of Clocktower Advisors, and we provide community strategy help for organizations of all sizes, but especially B2B and nonprofit organizations, social causes, all kinds of places that need to build a sense of community, both online and offline. And I love that work. It's my life's work. And I'm glad you're here to join me today. If you are tuning in on the chat in the live stream, I would love to hear from you. This is a very interactive show, and we want to hear your questions, your ideas, your inputs about it. And if you happen to be tuning in on this after the live stream, we definitely check all the comments, both on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. We simultaneously stream to all of these places, but primarily my home here is on LinkedIn Live, and love to have the interactions from everybody during the show itself. If you haven't already, I would very much appreciate if you can subscribe and comment and like the videos for our YouTube channel, the Clocktower Advisors channel up on YouTube. And we're trying to grow that base of followers there. And we always try to post content there. My team, Kalisa and I and Holly, always try to put up interesting, useful content around the topic of community building, the technology involved with the online community world, more relevant, topical kinds of things around artificial intelligence and how it impacts the world of community building, and a lot of different collaborations out there as well. So, please join us with that. But today, I am really excited to be welcoming my guest, Jephtah Abu, as I mentioned, the founder of Talentpoel. And Jeph and I are business partners in that Talentpoel and Clocktower Advisors are affiliated. When I have organizations that are attempting to build an online community, he's one of the first places that I think of as they're looking for help. Jeph, welcome to the show. Great to see you again, my friend.
Great to see you, Todd. I always enjoy our conversations because we get to talk about things that are not even related to what we started talking about, from community to life. So yeah, I'm very interested to have this conversation today.
Well, I am as well, and Jeph, I think maybe just to give a little bit of context to our interactions with each other. I think we maybe met each other 1 or 2 years ago originally, and we collaborated on an ebook together. There was some work in you're just talking to each other as community professionals, but in that time, you've gone down a different path here, and would love to hear a little bit about your story, why you decided to start Talentpoel, and why you moved out of direct community management yourself.
Well, I always say one thing, yeah. I'm a community manager by blood, and I'm always going to be a community manager. But I'm someone that I've had a pretty interesting career path, yeah. I started off as a social media manager. I went to cybersecurity. I moved to digital marketing. I moved to content. Like, I've done a lot of things in the span of 7 years in my career. And starting a company is like one of the craziest things you can do, because you are basically responsible for the success of your company, and everything falls on you. Even if you have like guests, or even if you have staff, it still falls on you. At the end of the day, you are paying the bills. So it's more pressure, but it's exciting. So why did I decide to start Talentpoel? Yeah. So I'm going to say this here. We actually had a startup I was working on with my friend called Pade. So Pade was an app that lets you discover local businesses around you. We had a team. I think we paid about $7,000 to build the app. Like we were meant to launch in February. So imagine me having a different team, and talent pool came as an idea, and I'm like, whoa, okay, what's going on? Because we spent the money, we had a team, we had the MVP, we had everything we wanted to do, but talent pool came as an idea in this office I am right now, and at first I was like, nah, this is too much work. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not interested. But the idea was so pressing that after a while, I'm like, you know what, let me try it out. And one of the things about what is about me is that I don't like dropping projects. I like to see it through. So it was very challenging. Imagine building two startups with two different teams. So I just had to make the decision that, okay, at this point, I have to close one startup. And I thought about it. It was a very difficult decision because we had to lay off the whole team and we had to like pay off everyone, and I had to fully focus on talent pool. And it was amazing because I had an understanding business partner, because it's not everyone that can invest $7,000 in building an app, and when you're about to launch, you're like, I have this cool idea, I want to test it out. Most people will not listen to you, but I was able to explain why, and it's been amazing, especially like the fact that we're able to impact lives in Africa. Like, one of the biggest things I always say is technology is meant to impact lives, it's meant to improve lives. There can't be advancement in technology if people are still poor, if people are still trying to survive. And I think that's essentially what Talent Pool is trying to solve. We are like a network of the most talented folks in Africa, but providing a platform for them to scale, also providing a platform for them to be paid well. And I think these two things will always work and they will always go hand in hand. So yeah, that's why I'm seeing the impact we are making. And it's not an easy route here. Saying you want to leave something and start something, it takes boldness. And yeah, I launched it and it's been amazing so far.
Uh, such a great story, Jeph. So, in your experience so far, how has being an entrepreneur been similar to or used skills from the community management world?
Awesome. I'll say the first thing is, as community managers, we have these super abilities like to be empathetic towards people, yeah, and also like good like networking skills. So I was able to use those skill sets like planning, for example, planning, human management, and networking. Like these three skills are amazing for a founder. Yeah, I'm like a full package as a community manager and a founder because I know how to deal with people. And as a founder, the first thing you should always learn is how do you please your customers? Yeah, how do you make sure they are okay? How do you manage them? And as community managers, we actually do that. We manage a community, and the community is filled up with people with different emotions, different feelings, and things will definitely happen. So using those skill sets, knowing how people work, people operate, managing them, I can step in front of someone and like, hey, this is what I'm selling, this is my product. And because of I've experienced how human beings are, I'm able to use those skill sets to sort of talk to the customer. So I'll say most community managers can be founders, can be good founders if they want to be, but not all can be like be an entrepreneur. That's just how life is. But yeah, I'll say the skill sets I learned from project management, planning, networking, like they all play a vital part. I always say that, I always joke and tell my friends that if I wasn't a community manager, I don't think it would be so easy for me to start a company because I'm very good at documentation. I learned documentation from being a community manager. I'm very good at management. I learned management from being a community manager. I'm very good at budgeting and in terms of scheduling things and planning ahead. So all those skill sets, I'm bringing it into my position as a founder and also building a company. So I'm like a side thought is I'm building a community of talented folks and also a community of clients. So it's basically I'm a community manager, but the title has changed as to a founder, basically.
It's a great answer, Jeph. Hopefully your internet connection clears up a little bit. Your video has frozen on me here, but I was able to hear you perfectly okay. Um, just wanted to do a quick call out to the audience. Margaret, who's a friend I know, she says, "Welcome, Jeph." Saying hello to you out there. Very
Hey, Mark.
very good to see you. Just wanted to do a quick shout out to her and anybody else that's joined us on the live stream. If you've got questions, please don't hesitate to move things forward. Jeph, your screen is cleared up again. I can see you moving around again, so that's good to see. Let me ask you this. So first of all, thanks for that answer. I think that's really insightful, and I agree. I think a lot of the skills that you pick up as a community professional will translate well into business ownership and entrepreneurship. Let me ask you, you've been on this path now, I think with Talentpoel for about a year.
6 months, actually. 6 months. 6 months.
Really? I thought it was a year. I'm sorry. You just seem much more established to me than 6 months. In the time that you've been running this, is this a path that you would recommend to others in the community pro space?
Very good question. I think I'll say, do you have the stomach for it? Because being an entrepreneur is one day things are going well, the next day everything is falling down. The next day things are going well. Like, it's up and down. So I don't blame people for choosing like 9 to 5, because it's comfortable, like you're in your comfort zone. It's like it's something that gives you comfort. As an entrepreneur, you have to be prepared for the ups and downs. They will definitely come. But at the end of the day, the reward is like bountiful. Like, you enjoy the journey. So I would say, if you are really committed to changing a process or a system you are not comfortable with, go ahead and start a company that can solve it. Yeah. I started Talentpool because I saw how difficult it was for community managers to get roles. Initially started off with community managers. Then I started talking to people around me. Then I realized it was more than community managers alone. You had non-technical folks that it was quite difficult for them to get remote roles. Like, I'm an example. Throughout 2020, I spent nothing less than Monday to Sunday, nothing less than 5 jobs in a day. So imagine 5 jobs applying every day, Monday to Sunday. And I kid you not, from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020, and I didn't get any role. So, and now I was like, what's like, why is it so difficult? Like, it shouldn't be. So that's what Talentpool essentially is solving. Like, we're giving people the opportunity, a way to earn well and also be part of a network that can help them scale. So I would say, if you are really radical about changing a system and you feel strongly that this is your calling, like, go for it. But entrepreneurship is not for everyone. In my family, we're like 4. I'm the only person that has a company. Like, all my sisters are like, nah, I can never do that. And I'm like, why? They're like, I just prefer to go to work, come back, eat and sleep. But as an entrepreneur, you can't do the same things everyone is doing. You know, your time is like, sometimes you work 9 to like 10, 9 to 7, 9 to 8. You don't have a balance until you scale. So I would say anyone can be, but you have to be radical. Like, you have to have a strong passion, and you have to also be consistent. Because even if you have the passion and you're not consistent, like, it will become frustrating. And you also have to have a clear goal. Like, what am I trying to achieve? Like, the impact I'm trying to make. Am I trying to impact people around me? And it sort of pushes you, even if you have bad days, you remember, like, hey, I was able to get someone a job, I was able to do this, and it sort of propels you to keep doing better.
You're so right about that. The hours are so variable in the work. Like, so I mean, I've been running Clocktower since 2015, and it's been by and large a solopreneur shop. Although I've had advisors or partners, that I've worked with, partners in terms of other companies, but also in terms of other consultants who have either come in under the flag of the Clocktower or as their own independent entities. And but you're right, like the time that you spend, like, there's nobody telling you to go home at the end of the day. There's nobody telling you to turn off the computer and go away. And so it's totally based on your own personal level of motivation. If you're the kind of person that has difficulty motivating yourself. If you don't care enough about the topic, I totally agree that maybe entrepreneurship may not be the right path for you. But if you are driven to change the world in some way, and you, my friend, I think you are, then you're in the right space to do that work. I wanted to mention that the irony is not lost on me that you said you spent a year applying to jobs 5 times a day, and now you're in a company that's basically helping other people get into those
Right.
roles.
It's
Um,
funny because I sort of think back about my early years in like tech and how, like when I interview people, I see myself in them, like that young Jephtah trying to get a remote role. So one of the things that I like put in place for talent pool in terms of the interview process is a feedback system. Like every talent that applies through talent pool, whether you are the 400 candidates or 200, you actually get feedback on why you weren't chosen, and the feedback actually helps you, like your CV, your resume, your cover letter, like you actually get feedback because I know how it's competitive. The job market is competitive. Even now it's more competitive. Back then in 2020, it was a hiring craze. Everybody wanted to hire remotely, and imagine if I couldn't get a job then. So it's a thing of, I saw it was difficult. I could have complained, which I did, but I'm like, rather than complain, this idea came to me, and we have roughly about four clients now, and each of those talents, they are earning well for themselves, and like their life have been changed, and that's something you cannot replicate. Like the fact that my company is able to change lives in Africa is something that you can't even buy with money. Yeah, it's something that it transcends. Like it translates more than making money because you're impacting lives. And my physiology is, or rather, my thought process is, if I can change 100 lives, those 100 lives can change another 100. They can change another 100. And it trickles down. Yeah. And we are still making money as a company. So it's a very passionate project for me, even in terms of building this company to where I want it to be. So, yeah, that's how I can relate. Like applying for jobs, it wasn't easy, man. I remember my mom would like leave the computer and go and get a 9 to 5. And I'm like, no, I want to get a remote job. It was really, especially dealing with your parents. Like I stayed with my parents during COVID. At first, I enjoyed it, but after a while, I'm like, I have to get out of here. So every day, imagine, and my parents are not really tech focused. So imagine telling your parents, I'm applying for a remote job. They're like, what's a remote job? Go out and become a engineer or an accountant or a medical doctor. But I'm like, no, this is the path I see myself. And I was considered enough. The next year, as funny enough, I got a remote job. So it's that consistency that makes you like outstanding.
I love that, and I'll note I have a friend who I've worked with for a number of years now, who talks about how any of the jobs that we have involve us playing the role of the mercenary or the missionary, and the best roles combine those two ways of looking at things. And I think so many times within the community world, we live in that missionary space. We want to do good for the communities that we serve. We want to do good for the world. You're certainly fulfilling that with Talent Pool, with helping others who are based geographically in Africa find jobs globally, find meaningful, enriching employment opportunities. But that mercenary side needs to be there as well. You're running a business, and I think anybody who is an entrepreneur needs to recognize that it's not just about the mission; it's also about paying the bills at the end of the day. And it feels to me like you found that right balance of serving both of those needs. I
Yeah,
really admire that. I think that's great.
it's funny because my co-founder, I don't say I'm doing good cop, bad cop, yeah, but during the interviews, yeah, I know if some talents are here, they can like testify to it. I'm always the nice person. Like, I want to ask you, how's your day? Like, how are things going? But my other co-founder, Lloyd, he's very straightforward. Like, he's very thorough. So I need people like that on my team. Like, I know that getting a balance for a company is amazing. As much as I know a lot of companies say like they're like families, which I don't believe in, like it's not. But instead, what I say is talent pool is a village, yeah, and that's the model we are using to build our company. A village, not everyone is related, not everyone is focused on making something happen. But at the end of the day, every village wants to be successful because the success of the village can affect everyone, even the members. So you wouldn't want to harm, like for example, you wouldn't want to harm a farmland in a village because it will eventually end up hurting you. So that's the village model we are using to build our talent pool. And balance is key because as much as we have an open door policy in talent pool, like if you do mess up, I'll actually call you out and say, hey, that wasn't nice because you have clients that are paying a lot of money to have you on board. And we always say the best talent. So the best talents are talents that no matter what they can strive. And I'm always proud of every talented talent pool because it's not even easy. Like we have an acceptance rate of like 2%. The last role we advertised for, we had over 446 applications and only 3 people scaled through. So it's not really a like straightforward process in terms of just getting in. And it's very quick as well. Like, we are very thorough with vetting, and I ensure that every candidate has a good experience, like with talent pool. Like sometimes people even apply 3 times to join us to show how good the vetting process is. We had someone that applied literally the second time, the third time, and I asked him why. It's like he has never seen our vetting process before, like in terms of the interview process. And I'm like, yeah, I did it based on my experience. I knew how I hated waiting for feedback, how I'll just be rejected, and it's a typical, we're sorry to inform you, but you didn't make it. Like I wanted something more, and I'm at the position to do that at a like scalable level. So it's a thing of it's you look for the best of the best, and to get the best, you have to spend time to sift through. And yeah, that's why I said I have to balance it. You can't always be the good cop. Sometimes you have to be like the bad cop sometimes.
Exactly. So I'm curious. You said you've got within the first 6 months you've got several clients that you're working with. Not asking you any specifics about them, but I'm wondering if you can share maybe something about the kinds of people that you hired for those roles and in what countries, because I know that the intent here was to hire people globally for talent pools. So I'm kind of curious if there's anything you can share on that front.
Yeah, I can share a bit. So all our clients right now are US based, and all our clients, we focus on tech-based clients, yeah. So most of them are in health tech, they have apps, they have SaaS products, yeah. So as a company or as a brand, I thought about it with my team. I'm like, okay, we have a lot of companies that provide the same service for us, yeah, or similar to us. We have a lot of competitors. So how do we start off in this market for us to scale? So I looked at African American founders in the US. Reason being because in terms of VC funding, they receive the most, like the littlest compared to like their white counterparts and even Asian counterparts. So there's a market there. You have people that don't have a lot of money and you have quality talent. So how do you match both of those roles or both of those, like, what's the word, verticals together? And I tested it out, and like voila, 3 of our clients that came on board, the first 3 were all African Americans. So we are still on that part, but we focus on US and Europe, yeah. But it's a thing of you have to understand the market first, which we are doing now. And the fact that we're able to launch in March and onboard 4 clients just means that we have something to do and we have something to like scale. So we are learning from that experience. Then in terms of talents, I'll say community managers. We have a community manager, digital marketers. Those are like the hot roles that people always hire for, and virtual assistants. Like they hire for digital marketers, community managers, virtual assistants. And yeah, we focus on mid-level and senior level because at the end of the day, senior level talents are amazing because they have the sense of leadership. One of the things I look out for in talent pool is proactiveness. Yeah, like that's a key. That's a key technique or key character trait for any recruiter. Like I'm just giving you a hint. Like proactiveness. How proactive is this candidate? Do you need to hold their hand? And that's one of the things that even set you apart from a job. It might not just be your skill set. There are also soft skills, proactiveness, ability to communicate. So yeah, those are the talents and those are the clients we have right now in Talent Pool.
Really terrific. And the clients that you've been working with, would you say that are they more on the startup side, or are they established, uh, you know, bigger sized organizations, or does it vary?
So we have some that are VC backed. Then we have some startups that just started. Like most of our startups, like most of the companies we have, it started in like 2021. So most of them are VC backed, but you have to get a sweet spot here. And the sweet spot is actually recruiting for organizations like big tech, like Meta, Twitter, because you know that they're always going to, like, for example, if they have a project they are working in Africa, you can always supply them talent. But right now, most of our startups are in, like, let's say they are pre-seed seed round, like that's like the base of where they are right now.
Yeah. So and the reason I'm sort of asking about that is I'm thinking about, like, many organizations this year, many community programs for organizations have contracted their staff. They have fewer people in full-time roles. I spent many years in recruiting before I entered the community space, personally, as you and I've talked about in the past. And what my experience had been, admittedly many years ago, was if full-time hires have contracted, have gone down in the marketplace, generally hiring people as contract employees goes up, because if you don't have the full-time headcount in an organization, you've got more opportunity to bring in contractors, whether consultants or just people who are doing boots on the ground kind of work. And it feels to me like this is a great time for you to be entering the space as Talent Pool, because you'll have that opportunity maybe to get a foot in the door with organizations that are feeling a little bit pressed with their budgets right now, and they've got the ability to hire temporary or contingent staff, as you might call them, and you've got a nice, no pun intended here, a nice pool of candidates who who are available, to do this work. So as a community builder, I love the metaphor you used of saying, like, this, the company is not a family, but it is a village, and you have relationships with all the people who become candidates, as well as all of the potential customers and actual customers that you talk to. Are you trying to do some things around building that sense of belonging for people, even if they're not directly hired in the organization? Like, what do you do to foster that? Because I know my excellent friend Ilker Kansel and I have another business venture. We're serial entrepreneurs like yourself. We've got our organization Talent Led, which is about building talent communities, and I'm kind of wondering how much of that world of community management has led into how you're managing employees and prospective employees for your organization.
That's actually an awesome question. Yeah. So the thing about companies like that provide the services we offer is that where they have it wrong is that they just recruit and that's it. Yeah. There's no sense of, people want that sense of belonging. Yeah. They want that sense of, okay, I'm part of a bigger goal. Everyone that comes to Talent Pool, I tell them what we are trying to build. We're trying to build a big network of the most talented non-technical people in Africa. And reason being that if you have passed through Talent Pool, you're one of the best talents in Africa, and you can always leverage off each other. Yeah, if I'm a digital marketer and I have an issue, I can meet a growth marketer in Talent Pool, and growth marketer will help me. Hey, I know how to solve this. So that was the village model I had in my head, because it's not just recruitment, dropping someone, taking a fee, but making sure they are part of a system. All talents also have benefits. Yeah, like I think we're one of the first companies in Africa to provide benefits to because they sign a contract with us, which are contract staff, and these are full-time benefits like HMO, working allowances, like education allowance. These are some things that I thought of as well, because I want to create sort of like an employee system, even if they are working as contract staff. And you realize that everyone works together as like a conscious, like one mind, because there's a goal we are heading towards. So if they are working with the client, they know that okay, they represent talent pool, and everything they do is a reflection of what talent pool is. So that was the thought process I had. Relationships are always tricky when it comes to employees, yeah, because you don't want to do too much, you don't want to do less, like you don't want to do too little, yeah. So you have to find a sweet spot. How do I have a relationship with this person that person can be comfortable enough to tell me, okay, I'm not interested in this job anymore, or I'm not feeling the job, I'm burnt out. And those skill sets of a community manager has come into play, because one of the soft skills you need as a community manager is empathy. Yeah. So I'm always empathetic towards people. Like we have regular check-ins. Like so I'm able to know what's going on, and that's something that is different because all the talents now know that hey, they can always reach out to Jeph if there's a problem, and Jeph will also hold them accountable if they don't perform their duties. So it's an exchange. You hold me, I hold them accountable. They can reach out to me. So there's a balance there. But if it was just recruitment, they will not feel comfortable talking to me. They will just like hold it up till it explodes, and the client's like, you know what, I'm done working with this person, and it reflects on talent pool. So that's why I use the village model, finding that sweet spot between knowing how to hold your talents accountable and also giving them that open door policy that they can tell you things. I think that's the sweet spot for any organization that is doing what we are doing.
Well, I think that's terrific. I love your mindset around building this as a new business. It sounds like you've seen some great initial successes. You're only 6 months into your journey here so far, but it sounds like in terms of the way that you're aligning yourself, that you're trying to work with the talented people in the African markets and find work for them in the U.S. and elsewhere in the world. That you're really set up for success in this. And so, I definitely wish you well with all that you're doing, and that I'm supportive of your mission and what you're trying to do too. So, so what's next for you? Like, what is the game plan going forward? And do you have any other irons in the fire that we should know?
We have a lot. Like when I look down, I'm like, we have so much things to accomplish. Like we have so many programs, initiatives. Like I'm always thinking about ideas, and that's why it's good to have a team that also sees the vision. Because sometimes I'll have an idea and they're like, no. Like funny story about Talentpoel is that when we first started, I reached out to like 4 people to become co-founders of Talentpoel, and all of them said no. And they're like, some of them were like, the idea is too big, and they were scared of the idea. So I was a bit sad because I knew these people like personally, and I'd worked with them on projects, so they were the ideal fit. Like, hey, this was the perfect idea. And it's a thing of, because you might have an idea and a vision, not everyone can see it, yeah, and that's perfectly fine. But you never let it stop you. So I reached out to 4 of them. All of them said no. I'm like, what's going on? Why are they not seeing the vision the same way I'm seeing it? And I'm like, you know what? Let me do it by myself. And funny enough, when those 4 people rejected me, and I looked around, there was someone I knew since last year, and we have been talking since. And I'm like, this person is actually a good fit. And the first day I asked him, he said yes. Like he was already planning everything. So if I didn't get those 4 rejections, I wouldn't have seen that person. And I always say he's even more passionate about Talentpoel than me, which is crazy because I'm the one that had the idea, and he's always like giving me ideas. So if I wasn't rejected 4 times, I wouldn't have seen him. So it's a thing of, there's a lot of stories behind Talentpoel, and I can't wait to share more as I learn. But I'll say that consistency is key. Like it's very, very key in what I'm building, because some days you have bad days, you have good days. Some clients will ghost you, some clients will not talk to you. So I think so far the worst comment I've seen is when someone said I wasn't serious with my business model, and it would not work. And it was funny because I was like, like I'm not used to being in that position yet. I'm used to being a community manager. I'm used to working 9 to 5. So nobody really like tells me anything. It's just review of my work. It's good, it's bad. But this one's someone telling me that your idea is bad. So you have to like have a tough skin to like also know how to manage such people. So it made me also grow up fast because I'm like, you're building a company and there are so many things that will happen. If you doubt yourself one bit, it can affect everyone in your team. So you have a vision, you have a plan. So we have 3 phases. Let me just give you like the rundown of what we are building in Talent Pool. We have 3 phases of what we want to achieve. The first phase is what we are in right now, and that's matching of talents to companies in the US and Europe. So that's a manual process, reaching out to people, building that relationship, networking, growing our base to 30 clients. So our first 30 clients, we want to build a relationship with them to become the backbone of Talent Pool. Yeah. So after that 30, the next step is the talent pool cohort, yeah, which is going to be for mid-level non-technical folks in Africa, and we're going to train them to become senior level. Yeah. So once we do that, we match them to companies in US and Europe. And I said senior because, sorry, give me a sec. Let me adjust my lights.
Oh, sure.
I'm very dark without the lights. So yeah, we have senior level talents, which they are very scarce in Africa. So we want to train mid-level folks to become senior level talents and still match them to companies in the US and Europe. And we can't get to that stage without having a backbone because with 30 clients, those 30 clients can tell another 20 clients and we can grow. And the last phase is that we want to become a platform, like a self-service platform where you can easily hire talent in Africa. You can pay them, you can even rate them, like in terms of you can every time you want to pay, you can let the person know, okay, these are the things you want to be addressed, like a rating system, a HR platform, but more of hands-on that you can easily hire someone, a team, a individual in less than a week because you have vetted talents. You now bring those vetted talents you have into the talent pool platform. So it's easy for clients to just choose who they want down to the T. I was joking with someone and I said that I want the platforms to be able to choose people based on very specific things like gender, age, even pregnancy, like anything you want. The platform will get you that kind of person. So that's the end goal of what we are going to. The manual matching, the cohorts, and the platform. And once we get to that cohort, then we are like, okay, what next? That's my 10-year or 5-year plan for Talent Pool, basically.
Well, I think it's amazing, and there will always be people who will tell you that that your business plan is not good or you don't have a plan to do it, but they don't know you, and they don't know they don't know your determination to be successful. So I like you, I ignore those people because they're not worth my time generally, or they've got another agenda, that's there. So. But it's something I think all of us face as entrepreneurs that people will try to tell you not to do it because they're too afraid to do it themselves, or they've got some kind of other motivation at play that you are right to be suspicious of. But it sounds like you're doing all the right things. You've got a long-term vision, a long-term view of where you want to go, which I think is also equally important. If your organization is looking for help, I would definitely direct you towards Jeph and his team at Talentpoel. They've been great to work with from my perspective, and I'm sure that they could help you if you are looking to bolster your team, or if you're a startup and you're looking to have some coverage for community management or digital marketing. They'll have the people with the right skill sets to help out. Jeph, anything you want to add before we wrap up the stream here for today?
Yeah, I think I'll just say in terms of building a company to anyone that wants to start, like don't start when you think everything is going to be perfect, because I faced that problem with Talent Pool. I wanted everything to be perfect. Yeah. When we launched, I'll tell you a little secret. When we launched our website, a lot of things weren't working. But I'm like, let's just launch it. Yeah. When we started, we didn't have a lot of things in place. Like I was still working on getting the EIN in the US. I was still working on a lot of things. But the crazy thing is that we got 2 clients just by launching the website. And This client just looked at the website like, oh, it's okay, and they came on board. So if we never made that step, we'll never like reach here. And now we have the ability to work on the website to make it better and make it like add our clients as well. So don't wait for a perfect opportunity. Don't always wait for okay, I want to wait till I didn't have money. One thing people don't know is I was broke when I started Talentpoel. Like I had $0 in my account. So I had to literally borrow from my friends, borrow from my girlfriend, like to start up a company because I was so driven that I know this is a good idea. I was in so much debt, but I saw the vision, and I'm grateful that I had people that also saw the vision because it's not easy. And I started a company with $0. Like I didn't have $1 to my name because I just left Ahoy, and all my savings I poured it down into something. So I thought I was going to get a job this year. And I'm like, the job I was expecting didn't come true. So if I wasn't also rejected for that job, I wouldn't have started a company. So sometimes it might look as if rejection is like happening, but I feel like rejection is directing you to where you are meant to be. And yeah, don't always wish for things to be perfect. Start as early as you can and just try and scale basically.
It's a great message to end on, Jeph. Not letting perfect be the enemy of good enough, right? So thank you again for coming back on the show. You're always welcome back, my friend. It's wonderful to see you. I'm glad you're prospering, and I hope to hear about you prospering even more in the next 6 months that go forward. For those of you who tuned in on the live stream, thank you so much for showing up and for participating. Those of you who catch us on the replay afterwards, definitely try to respond to every comment that we see. You can catch all of our back catalog of replays on the Clocktower Advisors YouTube channel, which I encourage you to subscribe to and add comments and likes there, as well as on our home here on LinkedIn Live. Just a quick plug before we wrap up. July 14th is going to be the next show, 10 a.m. U.S. Central Time. We'll be diving into diversity, equity, and inclusion and digital friction as topics with my friend and colleague, Brad Rook of Igloo Software. Brad was supposed to be on a couple of weeks ago. We had some scheduling difficulties, but we have him reset for July the 14th, our next show, 10 a.m. Central. So be sure to sign up for that. And you can find it in the listing on the Clocktower Advisors company page on LinkedIn. Go to the events section and sign up for that one as well. In the meantime, I hope that you build great communities, do wonderful work, and take some time for yourself this weekend to relax. Jeph, thanks again. We'll see you back here again soon.
Thanks, Todd. It was amazing being here. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.